life, and relationships. This is the Growth to Freedom Show. Now, here is your host, Dan Kuschell.
Welcome to growthtofreedom.com, the show that helps you transform your life, business, and relationships. I'm Dan Kuschell, and thanks for making us part of your day. We've got a great show today, the show that's going to bring you more clarity, confidence, and direction. Our show presented by Done For You Solutions. All of our guests brought to you by the Done For You Solutions hotline. We'd love to connect with you on this incredible day. You can find us on Twitter, number one, at Dan_Kuschell. That's Dan, D-A-N, _Kuschell, Kuschell, or feel free to email us directly at info@growthtofreedom.com. That's info@growthtofreedom.com. Also, stay tuned because we have a very special limited gift that we're going to be giving you free today as part of this special show. So let's dive into it. I mean, have you ever been in a place where you go, I wonder why I'm not getting the results I want, or, why is it that some people seem to be getting way more success than I do? Well, today's show is all about vision, values, and developing your Genius Playbook. I mean, I don't know. Do you follow sports at all? I mean, think about whoever your favorite football team might be, for example. Do you think they have a playbook? Well, when I played Little League football at 8 years old, I got a playbook that was about this thick. And isn't it amazing that we can have a playbook at 8 years old for something that we play as a game, yet when we become adults, we don't develop a playbook for life. We don't develop a playbook to win. We don't develop a playbook to succeed. Well, guess what? That changes today. The show is inspired today by a book I read here not too long ago by a colleague that I met through Joe Polish and Genius Network called Double by Cameron Herold, How to Double Your Revenue and Profit in 3 Years or Less. Fantastic book. But it got me to thinking about you today as you're watching, as you're listening, about how to be able to go develop your Genius Playbook and how to incorporate your vision, how to incorporate your values. And what is the outcome? Well, how about more freedom? How about the ability to spend more time with your family? I know for me, I've had a history in the past of being a workaholic. I'm so grateful today because my wife is here in studio. She's had the day off, and she decided to come in and join us today. How are you, honey? She's a little embarrassed. She doesn't like to get on camera. She doesn't want to be on audio, but I'm going to try to get her on here at some point during the show. I'm going to persuade her, and we'll see if I can twist her arm. Hopefully I won't hurt her. But anyway, that would be really bad live on video, wouldn't it? But at any rate, I'm grateful for you today, too. You know why? Today we're at one of the most exciting times in human history, right? I mean, capitalism. Think about this incredible country we live in. Capitalism, this God-given right that we have the ability to pursue life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, right? The ability to exchange goods and services to profit, to be able to go out and provide transformation to other people and earn a living. Some earn a great living. Well, I'd love to share with you some techniques and strategies, not only to earn a great living, but to build a great life. And I think today's show is going to show you how to be able to do just that. So let's dive into it. We're going to talk about vision, values, and your Genius Playbook. I had some people email this week, and that's why I asked my wife to come into the show, actually, because I had people say, well, Dan, what do you do? What do you spend your time doing? What are these, practices you have, or what are these rituals and stuff? And, again, I am so grateful because this has been a work in progress over the years. I haven't always been this way, and I'm still working on some of my, I guess I'd call them deficiency, admittedly, overall. Because, by nature, I am a workaholic. That's just, my DNA. I was brought up, my grandfather worked in a coal mine in Kentucky and West Virginia. My other grandfather, he worked in an auto plant working on an assembly line. My dad worked on an assembly line. He owned a printing company. And he was a blue-collar worker, and he taught me that blue-collar work ethic that I could apply in a business setting. And I don't know if you can relate to that, but what I've discovered is that when you have bad rituals, right, bad habits, bad practices, what does it lead to? Poor results, right? I mean, it's no shocker there. And I know I've had my share of poor results. How about you? Well, I want to talk to you about some good habits, some great practices, and great rituals to set you up for the best success, the success that you deserve. So based on this question I got from Gene, who said, Dan, like, what are these rituals and practices that you have? And one of my favorite that my wife and I actually do now 3 to 4 days a week is something as simple as a walk. Like today, for example, we got up. I like to say we have breakfast together at T's Cafe. That's my wife. That's our kitchen. I call it T's Cafe. And we just enjoy each other's company. And it's just and it's just a setting. And I think it sets the right framework, the right mindset. It's a mindset of gratitude. We usually start our day and end our night with talking about the things that we're grateful for and the things that, we're appreciative of. I mean, think about what we have in this country, right? I mean, we have the ability to go out and do some incredible things, whereas people from other parts of the world, they move here. And do you know that people that move here have a greater chance for financial security than most people that are born and raised here? I don't know if that ticks anybody else off, but it kind of ticks me off. And so it's about, starting with that mindset of gratitude. I'm so grateful my dad was in the military. And I'm so grateful for all the service men and women all over the world who serve for this incredible country to give us the freedom to be on air like we are right now. Being able to share wisdom, insights, practices to ideally help you transform your life, business, and relationships. So it starts with that mindset. The other ritual that we do, besides, is being able to eat at T's Cafe in the morning, and then we like to take a walk together. Now, we're not able to do this every morning, but like today, we were able to get up, have breakfast at T's Cafe, and then we took a walk together, and we like to take this walk, this little route that we take. It's about 1.5 miles. And then we make a stop and we go to Starbucks and we sit, and during this time we have conversation. Well, guess what we were talking about today? We were talking about our Genius Playbook for the next 12 to 24 to 36 months, right? And that's what I want to share with you because, if you don't have a playbook for the best success for you, your family, your marriage, your relationship, your kids, where are you going to be in the next 6 months? It's like a boat without a rudder, isn't it? I mean, what happens in that case? You end up on the rocks, right? And you many times scrape the bottom of the boat or maybe put a hole in it. I know when I've not had a playbook for success, I've certainly had my fair share of ending up on the rocks and certainly put holes in the bottom of the boat. And we don't want that to happen to you. I want you to avoid the same mistakes that I've made. So I'm going to share a little bit about our playbook. Honey, is it okay if I share what we covered today? All right. So first of all, we start with, by the way, we'll get this to you, and we'll talk about our special unique gift package today here in a little bit. But I'm going to just walk through this Genius Playbook. This is the personal playbook. Now, you can have a personal playbook and a business playbook. We'll talk a little bit about both today, but our values. So what are your core values? So we decided that our number one core value is our intimate companionship. I mean, how cool is that? Isn't it cool I have a wife who talks about having intimate companionship? Well, I'm great. I hope she's grateful that I appreciate that too. Number 2 is trust, right? Trust. And, how important is trust in a relationship? How about the fact that we're best friends, right? How about the fact that we respect each other? I mean, she's incredibly successful in her career, and I'm like a wild stallion in my career, and so I have this entrepreneur spirit. I'm a risk taker. She's a lot more conservative. She's the CFO of the family, whereas I'm the crazy visionary CEO by far. So respect in each other's role, the partnership, right? And then lastly is that we are fit. We're both fit. Financially, we're fit mentally, physically, socially, spiritually, emotionally, overall. And of course, that's a work in progress. I'm not going to say we're perfect in any of those areas, but those are our 6 highest top values that we must have in place for our relationship to work. Now, what values do you and your spouse or you and your boyfriend or girlfriend have in place to set the framework for success in your relationship? See, if you don't have those, where are you going to be in 12 months? You're going to be like a leaf in the wind, floating around, letting the wind just take you wherever it goes. You deserve better than that, don't you? And I think you do. I mean, what does this give you, by the way? I think it gives us peace of mind. I think it gives us serenity. I think it brings, it's a prosperity consciousness, right? It's an abundance mindset overall. So let's talk about our focus. So this is the second part of the playbook. I'm just going right through the tool. The second part of this is focus. What is our mission? And so, I made a couple notes, and this does evolve over time, but we bring out the best in each other. That's what we do. We multiply each other. We make each other better. And so some of the things that we're focused on doing and being in the present with are walks together, right? Going to bed together. It sounds so simple. I was having lunch the other day with a good friend that I've met also through Joe Polish and Genius Network named Bob Mulhern. And Bob was sharing that he was like, wow, this is such a simple thing, the walks you do with your wife, right? And it is. Not only do we get a fitness aspect out of it, a health aspect out of it, but we're also able to talk. We're able to talk about a lot of these things here. So the conversation that we have is another big piece of this. We get to wake up together. How lucky are we that we get to wake up I mean, there's couples who have long-distance relationships, but we get to enjoy waking up together each and every morning, just about, except when I'm traveling or she's traveling, right? We enjoy and love going to movies together. In fact, last night we had movie night at our house. We had a double feature night at the house. It rocked. It was awesome. And I'm not going to say she fed me strawberries and chocolate, but it was almost like she fed me strawberries and chocolate. I mean, it was great. And then lastly is that we laugh and we have a sense of humor together. I mean, the couple that laughs together stays together, I think. And that's so, so important. And so I want to help you be able to not only spark the relationships you desire, but also stay together with the people that matter to you most, whether it's in personal or whether it's in business. So these are just two of the first steps in creating the vision. And, you know, I've also had some people email. I had a guy named Mark. He said, you know, Dan, I went through your book. He goes, you're understating what you have in this book. This book's incredible. So when we come back here in just a little bit, I'm going to go through a little bit of the book, because guess one of the things that we talk about in the book is vision. In chapter 23, we talk about the movie, The Vision. And I walk you through step by step how to be able to set the framework to be able to go out there and actually create your, what Cameron Herold calls a vivid vision, which I'll talk about that when we come back. But we talk about the movie, The Vision. And you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to give you this. I'm not going to wait. I'm going to do it now. I want to give you, for a limited time, we've got a limited number of gift packages that we can give you. And I want to give that to you right now. I'd like to give you our best-selling book, A Champion in the Making, Awaken the Champion Within Your Life, Business, and Relationship. Not only will it teach you how to build a vision, it's going to teach you the link, cycles, creating, advancing, and setting records, riding the roller coaster, the power of decision, how to be self-employable, a champion's motto, infinite intelligence, a whole lot more. We're also going to get you this book, Walking with the Wise, with over 30 of the top mentors in the world, Mark Victor Hansen, Joe Polish, Dan Kennedy, Tom Hopkins, and more. You get both of these books. You get our audio program. You get our video program, and they're yours free right now when you pick up the phone and call 602-246-3389. That's 602-246-3389. Or you can go to the website at growthtofreedom.com/gift. That's growthtofreedom.com/gift. When we come back, we'll talk more about values, vision, and the Genius Playbook. We'll be right back on growthtofreedom.com. Back to growthtofreedom.com, providing you more clarity, confidence, and capabilities. I'm Dan Kuschell. Thanks for making us part of your day. Let's summarize the first segment of the show. We've been talking about vision, values, and developing your Genius Playbook. Now, we've been talking about your personal playbook. Why? I don't want you to risk making the same mistakes that I've made and I've seen hundreds of thousands of other people make in the world today, because they're like a leaf in the wind, floating wherever the wind blows them. You're better than that. You deserve better. Peace of mind, growth, freedom, the ability to have security, abundance, prosperity. It's yours if you'll just take the time to put some processes in place and take action. And that's what this process is all about, the Genius Playbook. We've been talking about values, walk through a couple examples just to give you a framework so that you could ideally look at modeling. You start answering these questions, values. What are the core values of your relationship? What is your mission and purpose, your focus right now, right? And so I talked about, like with my wife and I, we bring out the best in each other. We multiply each other's talents and capabilities, our walks together and so on. How about future focus? If you've taken the time to go, what is your future? What are you focused on for the future, right? Now think about this, by the way, how it translates if you did this for and with your kids, with your relationship, with your business partners, right? And really took the time to answer these questions. One of the mentors I learned from years ago, a friend of mine, Ken Foster, who founded Shared Vision, he said, it's about the power of questions. Tony Robbins has been talking about the power of questions for over 20 years. So what's the future focus? So a few that we discussed this morning on our walk as part of one of our rituals, we enjoy being together, right, in the future. And also, because is that important? I would like to think so. So we start there, that we are together, and we talked about where do we want to actually retire. We talk about having a lakefront home and starting to look, like in Florida, Lake Havasu, and a few other places. For me, what will I be doing? I expect that I'll have some role with Genius Network, working with Joe. I'll be doing business advising, angel investing. I love doing angel investing, which I do currently. I also look to continue to do that. I also enjoy writing and teaching. We look at owning our property so that we own the things. We're not leasing them. We're not on mortgages. We're not on payments. We don't go for that. That's just not our cup of tea. And that we've really set a great foundation for our kids college fund. And there's a whole lot more, but that gives you at least a few examples. And I encourage you, I challenge you. Here are the 3 questions. We'll send you this tool, by the way, when you get our gift package, which we talked about earlier. But values, what are your values? What are you focused on today? What's your future focus? And we talk about, what is the hierarchy of your family or relationship structure? Well, for me, my wife is most important to me, right? Because if that's not solid and my kids don't see that that's solid, well, that doesn't create a foundation for them. So number 1, T is number 1. That's right. She's the queen. Maybe even the king to a degree, because a happy wife is what? You know the answer, happy life. And I want that. So, and I want that for you too. So consider that. Yeah, I guess she's already brainwashed me, hasn't she? She's got me in training, right? She's got my big boy pants on. So T, and number 2 are my kids, right? My kids. Number 3, my parents, my family. And then I have my friends, and then I have my business. Now, I admit, for years, I've not always had these in the right order. And you know what? That's a mistake. And we all make mistakes. But you know what? Take the time to identify what is the hierarchy of your relationships. What's most important to you in your life? Next one is, what are the structure that you're going to, for example, you might have kids, you might have grandkids. What are you leaving them? And again, I'm so grateful. Today's a day about gratitude, right? It's about appreciation. Like I appreciate my dad. I know I get a strong character from my dad. He's one of the highest integrity people I've ever met, right? I think of my uncles and aunts. We lost a loved one here not too long ago, Uncle Mike. He was one of the strongest human beings I'd ever met. I remember going over to his house as a kid. We didn't have cable when I was a kid, so we'd go to my aunts and uncles, Uncle Mike, and we'd go spend time, and he'd have ESPN on. It was awesome. Back then, they used to have like these boring things, and I still loved it, billiards and horse racing. But at any rate, what are the things you're going to leave your family and your kids as a legacy? And I spoke with Bob Mulher, and I mentioned that in the first segment of the show, and he gave me a framework that I'm borrowing. I think it's that powerful, and I'd like to share it with you because what he shared with me was an incredible gift. I'd like to share that gift with you too. Number 1, he says, I'm giving my kids faith, a faith foundation, right? Number 2, family values. See, our family values are built on a acronym called CHAMPION, and we talk about that in the book, by the way, right? We talk about the principle and values in the book. CHAMPION, it's choose, health, action, mastery, purpose, invest in myself, opportunity seeker, and never quit on you. And you know what is one of the proudest days every day when I'm with my kids is when we talk about the Kuschell values at dinner and my kids recite them. They know the champion values. Why? Because they're important to us and our family. So number 2 are the family values. Number 3, being fit and healthy, right? I mean, because think about it. You can have all the money in the world. You can have all the success in the world. But if you don't have your health, what do you have? You don't have much. And I've been there. When I was laying on that hospital table years ago, and I was told that I had a 1 in X chance of dying with this heart procedure, it scared the heck out of me, to be polite. It did. And it got me to rearrange some things and start making some major shifts in my life, and a big one being health. So fit. And number 4 is education. We promise to provide our family, our kids, a great education structure. Now, that means different things to different people. So for us, what that means, I believe investing in yourself is one of the best things you can do. So my wife and I are working to have our kids learn how to have their own skin in the game and the things they invest in. Why? When they have skin in the game, they're going to get more out of it. And I believe I found that to be true with me too. The reason I spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a year investing in mentoring and masterminding and coaching and consulting myself, and I know Joe Polish does this more than anybody with Genius Network that I've ever met, is because it helps us have that skin in the game, and there's magic in commitment. And if I don't see myself as a good investment, if you don't see yourself as a good investment, why is anybody else, right? So it's those few values: faith, family values, a fit lifestyle, and education. Those 4 make it up. And so that gives us an idea as far as the personal values. So you want to talk about this book here for a second. So a champion in the making, because he had mentioned, he said, Dan, you're underestimating the power. This book is incredible. And anybody that I've ever had read the book actually says a couple things. One of the common things is, I feel like you're talking right to me in this book. And I wrote it really for me because it was a handbook to keep me on track with the things that worked versus the things that didn't. And so literally you can read this book in less than 2 hours, and it's also got exercise in it. But I just like to share a few of the key components of it. So it talks about awaken the champion within you. Documentation beats conversation, right? You hear a lot of people talk a good game, but they don't lead by example. And so we talk about how to build that documentation, the shortest distance between 2 points, your game plan for success, why winners win and losers lose, a champion's quest, the difference maker, the mind's eye, how to build commercials into your world for success, the challenge we face, a champion's motto, the breakdown, self-employable, magic and commitment, promise maker, promise keeper, giving the universal law, how to deal with riding the roller coaster, because you're going to ride it, right? No matter what, you're going to ride it. How do you ride it successfully? And then dealing with cycles and creating, advancing, and setting records, life purpose, the movie, the vision, designing a life of choice. I want to show you how to develop your life of choice. And I've got this gift package that's free today. And I want to get you this book. I want to get you the Walking with the Wise. But these are two international bestsellers. They're yours today free, along with our audio program, our video program. And you can get them right now when you pick up the phone and call 602-246-3389. That's 602-246-3389. Or go to the website at growthtofreedom.com/gift. When we come back, we'll have Phil Mutri talking more about vision, values, and the Genius Playbook on growthtofreedom.com. Welcome back to growthtofreedom.com, the show that helps you transform your life, business, and relationship, provide you more clarity, confidence, and direction. I'm your host, Dan Kuschell, and all of our guests brought to you by the Done For You Solutions hotline. All of our guests brought to you by Done For You Solutions. And in case you're just joining, let me give you a quick summary of our first two segments of the show. We've been talking about, the mindset for success, starting with gratitude. We've been talking about rituals. We've been talking about vision. We've been talking about values. We've been talking about your Genius Playbook and building one for your personal life as well as your business life. And, I had someone email me here at info@growthtofreedom.com the other day, and they said, well, Dan, what is it? What do you do? What do you really do? And, a short answer to that as it relates to my own Genius Playbook, what I do is I help companies grow and scale exponentially. That's what I do. It's that simple. And, it kind of reminds me, I've got this ball sitting here, and it kind of reminds me, I had a Little League coach. I remember years ago, he said, what is this, right? And what I have in my hands is a baseball. And he said, well, this isn't just a baseball. He said, when you really commit to being great at this game, you're going to see things that other people don't see if you truly want to be the very best. And in many ways, that's what I do in business. I get people to see what others don't see. I mean, do you realize that with a baseball, that first of all, it's 5 ounces, right? It varies just, by a little bit. It's 9 inches in circumference, about 3 inches in diameter, right? But did you know that inside of this baseball, there's almost a mile worth of yarn wrapped around a cork center? Did you know that? And then on top of that, there's actually over 7,650 of these stitches that are on this baseball, right? And then it's got the printing on it. And, I was very fortunate as I learned the game and I started playing at a very young age, about 6 years old. I was fortunate that I actually could see the stitches and the printing on the ball. That was the concentration level. And it gave me a level to be able to play at a much higher place. And so as I look at what I do for business, you might look at your business like this baseball, but what I do is I take you inside of it to unravel it, unpeel it, and really go inside what makes it work, what makes it do what it does. And a gentleman that I've got on the phone with us as a very special guest, a very special friend. Early on, I had a coaching and mentoring program, which we no longer offer anymore. And we do angel investing and work with high-level clients. But this gentleman came through our coaching program. He had struggled previously and multiplied his growth by 10 times. He then became an ambassador of our program, started working with our students, was just an incredible friend and someone that I consider a good friend today. He's the founder of philmutri.com as well as extremepotentials.com, and just an incredible example of persistence, of vision, of values, of building his genius and focusing on what he does best. Phil, how are you today?
I am good, Dan. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Well, glad you could be here. I'd love for you to take our listeners and our viewers behind the game, if you will, and show them the seam, show them the print on the ball, if you will. So if you, knowing what you know now, Phil, I mean, obviously we're at one of the best times in human history. There's a lot of buzz in business today going on all over the place. But knowing what you know now, what would you do differently as far as building success to shorten the time frame overall that our viewers and our listeners could take to the bank with them today?
If I were starting out, Dan?
Yes.
Is that what you're getting at? What I would do is I would specifically hire a mentor in the industry that has already achieved and is still achieving to higher levels and higher scalable levels. Definitely mentorship. It is the key to success. It's something that you just do not want to do alone. Been there, done it, and it's hard. It's a struggle.
Yeah, and it's so interesting you say that because, taking back to this context of this ball in my hand, right? When I played baseball, I had ultimately, as I played at a higher level semi-pro college and then coach college all-star teams, there were base running coaches, fielding coaches, pitching coaches, right? You had a third base coach, a first base coach, so these are specialists in their field, a hitting coach, and as you're watching right now, as you're listening, who's your coach? So as simple as what Phil is sharing with you is mentorship, coaching. Who's your coach? And so where do you go, Phil, to get coaching? Where do you go to learn and get access to the best guidance, wisdom, and insights in the world?
Well, you were initially my coach, Dan, and a very, very good one at that. Now, actually, my mentor and who mentors me now, and even the successful people should all have a mentor, and I'm sure you have a mentor. And he was actually on your show not too long ago by the name of Jimmy Harding. He is my mentor at this time as well.
Yeah, Jimmy's fantastic. I know I introduced the two of you guys together because I wanted you to have someone that you could work more on a direct basis with. And I thought that you'd be a great combination. It seems like you've been great multipliers for each other. I bet you're learning from him and he's learning from you. Isn't that true?
Oh, tremendously. Yeah, tremendously. The teeter-totter back and forth for sure. Great man, definitely a great man, and I thank you so much for actually introducing him to me. So he's definitely a great man, and so are you. You're an amazing man.
Thank you. So I'm curious, Phil, what are you working on right now? Like, where do you put your time and energy and most of your focus today?
Most of my focus goes on automation now. Not really, and not really doing it's not really putting a lot of work into it. You just have automated systems. We call it the machine, and run by Facebook. Facebook has over 1 billion users on it. It has a very, very easy to use advertising platform, so you're able to advertise and direct targeted traffic to your offer, which they go through the offer, and it's done by automated webinars through Stealth Seminar, actually, as well.
And we're going to have to go to a break here, Phil. When we come back, we'll talk more about that, vision, values, and your Genius Playbook right after this. Welcome back to growthtofreedom.com. More clarity, confidence, and direction. If you're just joining us, let's give you a quick summary of our first few segments of the show. We've been talking about the mindset for success, which is gratitude. We've been talking about vision, values, your Genius Playbook, talking about your focus, your future focus. What are you leaving as your legacy for your kids? We've had Phil Mutri, expert, founder of Extreme Wealth Potentials, philmutri.com, and he's been talking about the value of mentorship. So, Phil, I want to put you on the spot here real quick, and I guess, what are you personally focused on doing? So you mentioned automation, but even above that, let's go at a 30,000-foot view. I mean, what do you value most that you're really grateful for, that you're focused on, that you're implementing in your business overall?
Basically, 8-week workshops where it's a done-with-you atmosphere, where the actual client works with the expert over an 8-week workshop, where we help people scale their businesses to higher levels of achievement.
Scale the businesses to higher levels of achievement. So tell us what that means.
Basically, it could be somebody new coming into the online industry that doesn't know how to put their course online or put their product online, or it could be an already established business that is in the offline world that wants to come into the online world, and having a scalable system that's set up on automation and on autopilot so that they can achieve higher levels of success in their business through an online industry presence.
Awesome. So if I hear you correctly, what you're saying is you show people how to take, this idea, this expertise, this wisdom, maybe this genius they have, right? And you show them how to turn that into an online education model. Then you show them how to get it online, and then how to convert that into a revenue model, a business, in other words. Is that right?
Absolutely.
And then, ideally, if they've got some foundation built, you also then show them how to be able to scale that online business to greater levels.
That's correct.
Awesome. And when people do that, right, when they go through your course, when they go through your program, what is the outcome for them? What does someone generally experience? Not in terms of dollars, but like, what do you find? What is some of the feedback that you get from people as far as, whether their happiness or their satisfaction of their progress and stuff like that?
Happiness is the results of getting them into an online platform, something that they're proud of. Like a lot of the feedback that we get is just really happy that they're able to learn how to do this, because there's so much garbage out there, Dan. There's so much garbage out there that's not results based. And we're actually, the online industry is an information world. And little do people know is that even Facebook is changing their algorithms, and we're actually going from an information-based world to a knowledge-based world, to where people are actually wanting to work with the expert themselves. So people are really, really happy with being able to work with an expert versus just getting an information course that really doesn't answer back.
Yeah, it takes from a monologue conversation to a dialogue. It moves from one to many to essentially a one-on-one conversation, doesn't it?
That's correct.
Yeah, and I know you're one of the best at being able to do that. And, ever since we met, I remember we proposed a contest years ago that you submitted your package to, and it just blew our socks away in our office. And that really opened the door for our relationship. And you've always been committed to excellence in doing the simple things. Our framework for working with business owners and entrepreneurs is, execution times elegant ideas times confidence equals maximum performance. And you really live that on a daily basis, don't you?
I do. Each and every day. Each and every day. We all have bad days. We all have good days, but I do live by that every day.
And speaking of that, what is it that you think you do differently, or maybe better, or maybe with a twist than others out there in the marketplace? Maybe you call them competitors, what have you?
Well, I would have to say that a lot of the competitors out there will do things that really do not produce results. And what I've learned in the industry and with my growth in the industry is, if you aren't going to be proud of something that you have and that you offer to somebody that doesn't produce any results, then you really shouldn't be in the business at all. But there's, like I said before, there's a lot of garbage out there. So, for me, I'm proud of what I give to my clients. I'm proud of what I do for my clients, because I'm a firm believer in results-based, knowledge-based material.
Absolutely. And, I think it comes down to what we've been talking about, vision and values, right? Your values are aligned with providing value transformation in the world, not just some transactional model where you sell a little course and then, you earn some income from that. Not that that's a bad thing per se, but you're at a much higher level. And, we've been talking about this vivid vision. I just read this book here about a week and a half ago, Phil. It's called Double Double. And I'm going to actually send you a copy as my gift to you from Cameron Herold. It's how to double your revenue and profit in 3 years or less. And in many ways, why I have an affinity as well. I shared this with my wife. T is with us, by the way, today. She says, hello, Phil.
Hello.
And the great part, I feel like in many ways, I wrote this book. It's like, who knew that someone put all this stuff in a nice package? So I had to beat my head against the wall to figure a lot of this stuff out. But Cameron is just brilliant. I met him through Joe Polish and Genius Network. And he talks about, getting very clear on if you doubled your company in size, right? If you, and Dan Sullivan talks about 10x growth. So if you grew your company 10x, what would your programs be? Phil, I'm going to give you a checklist. Would you mind if I actually coach you in this conversation like right now? Are you cool with that?
I'll give it my best shot.
Yeah, so I encourage you to think of these questions and then and I'd love for you to submit them to me as well, and I'll check them out, and then you and I will have a personal one-on-one follow-up conversation to continue our many years of coaching together. But what are your programs for 2016 through 2018, right? If you have live programs, what are those live programs that you offer? Look at your programs that might be automated programs, and maybe think of them like Cameron does it. He calls them remote programs, right? What coaching or mentoring will you be offering? As a leader, how are you showing up? What are the qualities of a leader that you're demonstrating? Or how about communication? How will you be perceived in your communication to your clients, to your team, to your vendors? How about your customer service? What is your customer service policy as it relates to working with your vendors, clients, and staff? How about media? What's the media writing about you, Phil? And I know I'm going through these kind of fast. And here's the thing, folks. I am going kind of fast because we do have a short clock here. But you can get all of this and listen to it again by going to growthtofreedom.com/13. That's growthtofreedom.com/13 and get a review. But what is the media writing about you, Phil? And as you're watching right now or listening right now, I'm challenging you, yes, you watching, you listening, to be able to do this too. Why? You deserve it. You deserve the very best. Multiplication by subtraction. These questions are incredibly powerful. Who are your mentors, right? Cameron I look at as a mentor. Joe Polish, Genius Network. I'm blessed. Dan Sullivan, strategic coach. Just about everybody I meet in one way or another becomes a mentor. How about the profitability? Are you strategic? What is the profitability of your organization, of your company, right? How do you feel about what you're doing? Right? Phil, you just hit on that. You talked about, you're proud of what you offer. That's an example of how you feel. I challenge you to go a little deeper. What does your work-life balance look like? How much time are you spending working? How many hours a day? How many hours does your team work? How many hours does your virtual team work? And what is your family commitment, right? What are the things you're doing for enjoyment? What are those fun things? Joe calls it developing a fun time tool. How about your core values? What are your core values? How you do what you do, right? You have a unique gift, Phil, and I've watched this and I've seen you evolve over the years that we've gotten a chance. So how is it you do what you do? How often are you spending your time doing that and delegating the rest, right? In addition to that, what is it you see in your business? What is it you hear? What is it you feel about your business? What are clients saying about you? What is the media writing about you? What are your team members saying about you, right? What's the buzz out there? What's your marketing like? Is it a global business or is it, localized? Or how about online ads? Are you doing TV ads, radio ads? Do you have a radio show? Do you have a podcast? How is your company running? Does it feel like a smooth car with four wheels with all air in the tires, or do you feel like you have a Flintstone car and you're bumpy, boom, 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 like a flat tire, right? And I've run my fair share of those over the years. What do you do each day, right? What are you not going to do each day? And so think about those questions, Phil, overall. And again, I pulled these out. This is chapter 1, by the way, of Cameron's book. That's just chapter 1. He calls it the Vivid Vision. And again, as part of our gift package to you, we've got it's a gift package. People tell us it's worth thousands of dollars. Phil, you've gone through our gift package as well. Our best-selling book, international bestseller, which is a champion in the making, Awaken the Champion Within Your Life, Business, Relationship, Walking with the Wise, our audio program, our video program. We want to give that to you right now as our gift to you for free, by the way. Free, no strings attached. We're going to get it to you digitally. That's how we can do this right now. If you'll pick up the phone right now and call 602-246-3389. That's 602-246-3389. Or go to the website at growthtofreedom.com/gift. growthtofreedom.com/gift. So, Phil, how do people reach out to you and get in touch with you to be able to work with your program, your services, maybe some of your coaching, things like that?
Information on me can be received at philipmutrinetwork.com. That's PHILIP, M as in Mary, UTRIE, network.com. That's philipmutrinetwork.com, and telephone number toll free is 888-665-8896. That's 888-665-8896.
That's awesome. So go to philipmutrinetwork.com, or you can call Phil toll free at 888-665-8896 to get more information. So, Phil, knowing what you know, right? I know you've got great values. You've got a certain focus today. You've got a future focus of what you're doing. Of course, you're very grateful for your mentorship that you've worked with. What does the future hold for Phil? Like 5 years from now, if we waved a magic wand, right? This is a Dan Sullivan question from Strategic Coach. We waved a magic wand and we met 5 years from now. What do you feel would have to happen for you in order for you to feel happy and satisfied with your progress?
Happy and satisfied with my progress would be the dedication and commitment to my clients, creating results, creating happiness, creating visions and results for helping people create their vision. It's all about creating success stories, Dan. It's about changing people's lives. At the end of the day, really nobody, it's the ugly truth, nobody cares about you. Really, they only care about the results that you can help create for them. And then after the
Isn't
fact,
that true?
then they'll care about you. And then they will invite other people into your industry, right? So definitely dedication and commitment to clients, produce results for them, make them happy, make their vision and dreams come true.
And do you want better results, especially if you're new, getting started, you're looking to take your wisdom, your insights, your talent, your genius, and convert it to something online education? Get in touch with philipmutrinetwork.com or call them toll-free at 888-665-8896. Well, guess what, Phil? Can you believe it? Time is done. That's our show for today. It flies, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And happy Memorial Day, brother.
Yes, you too, my friend. I know I'm smarter for having you on the show, and I look forward to having you on again. I appreciate you greatly. And now is your time as you're watching, listening right now. Take action. Take the first step, right? If you want a recap of the show, you can go to growthtofreedom.com/12. You can email us at info@growthtofreedom.com. And by all means, I hope you'll repeat if this show resonates with you to some degree. Say, I'm a winner. I'm a champion. I'm the best. Find a mentoring group, a mastermind, a coach. Seize the day. Make it a great week. growthtofreedom.com. I'm Dan Kuschell. Enjoy your week.
Get your free Growth to Freedom gift package now. Includes 2 books, audio, and video program to transform your life, business, and relationships. Call now at 602-246-3389. That's 602-246-3389. Receive your free gift package for great